From drama with the Supreme Court justice's wife to former President Trump's call logs incomplete from January 6th during the insurrection. What the hell is happening?
It's very challenging because we have a number of legislative requirements on presidential administration records. The White House is a public building. It's the people's building. And so we need to have logs of the visitors. And the National Archive is charged with that, which was expanded and further codified under President Obama in 2014. So we know that we are supposed to have additional records. And of course, while this week the hot word is entanglements, KRIV was the hot topic in 2017 when President Trump tweeted after midnight, sort of unintelligible word. And we know that because he's always on the phone tweeting, that there's a lot of use of that. So there's a demonstrated record of it. And even back to Nixon, one of the challenges with the Watergate hearings and other prosecution that was alleviated was Nixon's propensity to record everything. Mm-hmm. So we codified that and required presidents to keep detailed logs. And actually in 2017, after the tweet on KRIV, a congressman introduced legislation to further expand this. But we have existing law in 2014 that requires the president's records, requires the visitor logs, contact logs to be listed. And so any attempt to modify that is clearly a breach. We also remember back with Hillary Clinton, the challenges with the private server. So we can't have one standard and good for the goose, not for the gander, where we recognize that it was illegal under the 2017 codes for then presidential candidate and Secretary of State Hillary Clinton to use a private server for government emails. Similarly, we need to have these records.
Now, let's move on to Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas's wife, Ginni Thomas, who is caught up in TextGate, 29 text messages to the former White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, saying that we should, release the Kraken and keep President, not for the lack of a better term, keep President Donald Trump in there despite him losing the election. What kind of trouble could this get her into, and also her husband, Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas?
The reality is Clarence Thomas is very well known and entrenched. And so while it may seem hypocritical to have rules for thee and not for me, the federal lower courts, district courts, and appeals courts justices have rules on disclosure and conflicts of interest. The Supreme Court sets their own rules. And so Justice Thomas does not have to recuse himself except for by his own volition. And he certainly doesn't have to go beyond the mandated disclosure. So he really can't get in that much trouble. And while we recognize, I mean, if we just look at the personal gain index on Ballotpedia for congressional leaders, we know that 114% personal wealth gain year over year for the top 100 earners is not uncommon. Nancy Pelosi's growth in wealth over 16 years was more than double, $41 million to $115 million in personal wealth while serving in Congress. Spouses of staffers of the members of the Hill often work for defense contractors. So this is the DC swamp that we hear about, where everyone's sort of related and talking. So he really can't get in that much trouble, but it does present quite a bit of challenge for the court to pretend that there's objectivity and neutrality in rulings when you know that the spouse of an individual, where you go home and have their ear, is receiving thousands and thousands of dollars from special interest groups.
Should the January 6th committee call her before them and answer for these text messages? Or will that be likely?
I don't think that they would feel comfortable with the current climate, particularly with the midterms approaching, but it is very probable that the hearing committee may want to know further what the thinking was behind the spouse of a Supreme Court justice. And remember, it wasn't that long ago, Bush v. Gore, where the US Supreme Court determined over the popular vote that George W. Bush was the winner of the 2000 presidential election. So the Supreme Court has a history of election determination, and this provides a perception of bias that could cloud the sort of imprimatur of justice of the Supreme Court even further.
All right. Diedrich von Biedenfeld from the University of Houston downtown, thank you for joining us here on The Fact.